Hey, RetconRaider here, and welcome back to episode 5 of my Deadfire beta series. Last time we left off in the middle of exploring the cannibal-infested Tangaloa Temple. So, let's get back to it. Let's see here. One crazed priest, one prisoner tied to a post, and what's this over here?
Why not?
Bones scored by jagged cuts and picked clean of meat and marrow
Why not?
lie in a disorganized heap. Well, that seems hygienic. Okay, we've got one enemy in sight at the moment, but we have no way of knowing whether there are more cannibals lurking deeper in the ruins. But the priest is primarily a support class, so if we can take him on alone, we should be able to drop him pretty quickly. And I certainly do want to talk to that prisoner over there. I guess we'll go with our usual strategy. We'll queue up Retcon here and fire off some sort of crippling attack at the priest.
Come on! You should have run!
Not bad. There's a solid 68 damage hit. Looks like we took off about 2/3 of his health. That makes it a lot easier to beat him to death. Wow. Okay. Well, I guess Retcon must have shot the pressure point that causes someone to spontaneously explode. Well, with the priest out of the way, that means we can go talk to Jordo Red-Handed, which I can't say is a name that inspires confidence.
Not a problem.
First, let's see what the priest dropped. Looks like a fine wand, some robes, some shells, and more kith meat. Delicious kith meat. I'm not sure if talking to the prisoner will trigger a fight, so
Ready when you are.
let's check out that chest, too. That gets us an antitoxin and a Deadeye potion. We'll take both of them. Now, I noticed something just a second ago when we were mousing over the prisoner.
See and not be seen.
Let's just get our rogue into stealth here real quick. Oops, that was a bit premature. Let me pull back real quick. When I moused over the prisoner earlier, I couldn't help but notice that the cursor changed into a pickpocket icon. I didn't realize they'd actually implemented the pickpocket functionality just yet, so I kind of want to try it out. Looks like it works. I mean, obviously the prisoner doesn't have anything on him worth stealing, but I'll definitely have to give that a try once we get back to Tikawara village. Oh, hold on a second. Looks like we just spotted another hidden cache.
Over here.
That's worth checking out.
Why not?
Looks like we found some pyrite and more kith meat. A bit disappointing, but I'll take whatever I can get, I suppose.
I'll handle this.
You find a middle-aged dwarf tied to a post, a pile of bloody refuse scattered at his feet. His beard is a matted mess, and his face is streaked with dirt. Despite his haggard state, he twists against his bonds as you approach. Bless your knickers, you're just in time. Another moment more and I would have been dinner. What happened here? It's a right sorry tale, I'm afraid to say. Our ship, a beautiful ship she was, too, ran aground in a storm. Waves so high we couldn't see a damn thing, you understand. Come to discover this here island's about as barren as an ancient lecher's bed. Not a scrap of nothing edible on it, and none of us were especially keen to take our turn about the wheel, so... He trails off, unable to meet your eye. As the months wore on and no one came looking for us, we started running low on crew and, victuals. I think what few of us were left here at the end might have got a little nutty. You don't say. Who are you? Jordo Red-Handed of the Imposter's Lament. Well, formerly of the Imposter's Lament. He laughs a bit too loudly, a hand splayed across his belly. Something of a lifelong deckhand, I am. Picked up cooking in the last few months, too. Meat's my specialty, on account of the, well, you know, the business here. With the cannibalism. Well, he outright admits it. That's a bit refreshing. I expected him to try to mislead us. I guess that's earned him his freedom. My wrists thank you mightily. He takes a moment to flex and bend his hands, working the circulation back into them. His lip twists into a grimace when he runs his fingers over the deep bruises the rope left. Here, take this. Least I can do is send you off with a boon, eh? Jordo draws the cloak from his shoulders, gives it a good shake, and places it reverently in your hands. You take care out there. Oh, I guess that's it. I was kind of expecting more from that conversation, but
You'll never know I'm
let's
here.
check out our new prize. Okay, I'm not actually seeing a new cloak in our inventory here. It might have ended up in one of the party members' personal inventories. Nothing here. Alright then, no one actually got a new cloak. I guess, like that bloody grimoire we found earlier, this is just another indication that this area is not finished yet. Disappointing, but understandable. Let's keep exploring. There's another chest, and something we can look at over in the corner. Looks like that gets us some agates and some silver lusks. So, basic monetary loot. Now let's check out that magnifying glass. Some of the bones in this pile are cracked and bleached with age. Okay. I guess that's probably to indicate that there were corpses here even before the cannibals arrived. What I'm not seeing, though, is any way to go deeper into the temple. Well, I guess that means we're more or less done here, then. A little bit of an anticlimax, but at least we got some loot and some experience points. I can't help but wonder if there's going to be more content here in the final game. But for now, let's just get back to the ship and continue charting out the ocean. We've still got about half the map to explore, so, like last time, we'll skip forward to the next highlight. Okay, looks like we've discovered a small island we can land on, though it's far too small for it to actually have any significant point of interest. Looks like it's a basic cache. Let's check that out real quick. A cloak of deflection. That certainly sounds promising. Well, once again, there's nothing else for us to do here, so let's get back to the boat. We'll be sure to check out our new magic item as soon as we can actually access our inventory screen. Well, at this point, we've pretty much explored the entire ocean, and the only place left to go is Kawara, which is where we were supposed to go in the first place. I guess that means we should finally look into whatever happened to that missing Vailian expedition. That means it's time to head back to Tikawara village so we can have a quick chat with the chief. Here we are back in Tikawara village, but before we talk to the chief, let's take a quick look at our new cloak of deflection. Looks like it just grants us a flat +3 bonus to deflection. So it's a fairly basic protective item, just like the Ring of Protection. I think we'll go ahead and toss that onto Retcon, to shore up his defenses a bit more. And hey, that doesn't look half bad. I like that it automatically adjusts to match your current color scheme. Now that we're done playing dress up, let's go have a chat with Chief Ruanu. And of course you'll notice that most of the containers here are empty. That's because we've, been here before.
Watch and learn.
The wood is smooth under your hand. The totem looks to have been carved and painted recently.
I got this.
The many
I got
rips in this worn old banner have been lovingly stitched back together. Anamawa huddles in close conversation with the warriors next to him. He whispers in a low, stern voice. No sooner do you catch his eye than he grins wide enough to stretch every muscle in his face. Greetings, friend. Always it is an honor to receive guests. He inclines his head and touches his brow. Retcon, Captain of Defiant, at your service. I would shower you with the fruit of our harvest, but the season is unkind, I say. Kawara is restless. Even from afar, the storms tear our bounty up by the root and chase fish to calmer shores. He raises his hand to gesture to the east. His hand falls limply to his side. What is Kawara? An island not touched since the days of our ancestors. The Vailians went to Kawara for Luminous Adra, but their expedition does not return. As the storms grow wild, Tikawara dies around us. No traveler will land here if they are forced to eat their belts, I say. He absently presses his knuckles, worrying the blood from his fingers. Let's see here. Why not move the tribe elsewhere? In our old villages, we were raided by pirates, stolen by slavers, and killed by Raotawan scouts. His head droops further with each admission, as if their acknowledgement diminishes him personally. So I brought them here, where the soil is too poor for koiki fruit and the waters too shallow for great fish. At least we are in the path of Vailian traders as they come and go. This is protection, prosperity, a future. He nods, resolute in the idea. How is Kawara causing storms? You are new to the islands. I would not expect you to know of these things. Our ancestors told of luminous Adra, the bones of the Deadfire, breaching through the sands of Kawara. Nagato raised her watery fist in defense of the Adra. Vailian or Huana, it is nothing to her who suffers in the wake of such anger. There's a locked option there. Beyond the storms, is there any danger? Akira, we paddled our canoes the long way around Kawara for a reason, I say. Another people lived among our ancestors and built a temple in the desert. Now there is only death. But the Vailians closed their ears to my warning. He shrugs, glancing away. I have some history with old places that cause storms. I'll take a look. His eyes widen a little. The smile that creases his face seems, for a moment, genuine. Here, this was a token passed down from the Rangas, said to come from Kawara in brighter days. He passes you a heavy length of copper shaped in a spiral. There's another locked option. This looks like a seashell. The Mazumu snail, a foul thing, yes? They eat through the dead faster than Tangaloa, I say. It is nothing my Kuaru would craft. The ancestors and their hobbies. He shrugs, smiling. If you need aid, Himwehi's warriors need only someone to bark the commands and they will go. He raises his fingers to his brow once more. Alright, let's see. I guess we should ask him for some additional information before we leave. I had questions about Kawara. Looks like we've already explored all these dialogue options. You don't seem to mind the Vailian influence here. Some tribes push the foreigners away, but it is good to have powerful friends. A frown briefly clouds his expression. If the Vailians come, they will build an outpost here, in Tikawara. His gaze unfocuses like he is convincing himself of every word. Then we will have more to trade with outsiders than just Rongi's mats. With coin comes protection, friendship. He nods vigorously. A favorable arrangement for both sides, I say. Not very convincing. Are you always this friendly? I say that in Tikawara there is always a spot around the fire, and... A gurgle reverberates from the stomach of the guard standing next to Ruanu. He grimaces and places his hands over his belly, as if to muffle the sound. The Ranga shoots him a withering glare. And a koiki in every hand. When he turns back to you, he's all wide smiles and pleasantries again. Well, that was more depressing than I expected. I think we've heard enough. Farewell, Chief Ruanu. Looks like we've got a journal update, so let's check that out. Alright, we've unlocked the quest, The Storms of Kawara. It lies due east of Tikawara, and we can now explore the ruins. And... apparently we heard mention of the village priestess Neri, who apparently doesn't share the chief's views. Well, I guess we should go talk to her then. Here we are at the Kawara Shrine.
I've got it.
This looks like a smaller, older version of the statue outside. The wood is smooth and mottled with water damage.
I've got it.
This woman is young, but her serious manner makes her look much older. Her nose and ears are pierced in several places, and her mouth is twisted in a scowl.
More outlanders? Are your masters so desperate that they send you to plunder a starving village?
I think we got off on the wrong foot. Retcon, Captain of Defiant.
For what do you say this? To impress me? You are no different from the last ones who came through.
She shakes her head, scowling.
Outlanders conquer us with ink and paper pacts as well as blades, but they conquer us all the same.
She squares her stance and grimaces. So learn to fight or read the fine print. Either will do.
If our Ranga gave me the chance.
She grits her teeth.
Ruanu, he collaborates with the bottom feeders who went to Poco-Kohara for Aedra riches. I warned the Vailians about Poco-Kohara, but why listen to the ignorant Huana girl? Now I remain. They are gone, taken by the curse.
Great, so it's another tribal who's hostile to outsiders, just like Himwehi. Well, I guess I can't really blame her. Vailians are some of the most skilled navigators in the world. They don't just go missing.
Poco-Kohara was not for them. With Nagati's aid, the sea takes and gives in equal measure.
She raises her fingers to her brow.
Dark clouds surround Poco-Kohara, and in my dreams they swallow us all.
She looks at the statue next to her, her eyes bright with intensity. If the Vailians are gone, why are you in such a foul mood?
This brood of outsiders will not be the last. Others will follow. Like sharks, they are never appeased. That is for what we build this village, and for what he wasted half our stores of food feasting for them.
She crosses her bony arms and plants her big feet, all angles and determination.
If you go to Poco-Kohara, I say the best thing is to destroy it for the tribe.
Her brow raises sharply as she studies your reaction.
When the Aedra is gone, the Vailians will dig somewhere else, leaving us to point our canoes toward more welcoming shores.
How do you expect me to destroy Luminous Aedra?
If I knew, then I would go myself. Anything that is built can surely be destroyed, Akara, and the storms are proof of powerful magic at work. Dispel this magic, banish it, whatever needs doing.
She brushes off her palms. Okay, that's a druid option there. Sorry, but I won't shatter a gateway to the beyond because it's inconvenient for you. She snarls.
Then stay out of my plans. Sail back to wherever you came from.
Well, alright then. I hear that Anaharu also had problems with outsiders. She winces as you speak the name. One hand strays to the coral crescent pendant. She forces it back down, pinning her hand beneath a folded arm.
Anaharu was the tribe's priest before me, and he was my father, before he challenged Ruanu to a trial of waves.
She sighs and takes hold of the pendant, gripping it in a tight fist.
But he was cast off. We are forbidden to speak of him.
What does it mean to be cast off?
She winces. It means the tribe must forget him. The Ranga divided his possessions among the other Mataru, and now we do not speak of him.
She swallows, still looking away. Tell me about the trial of waves.
When there is an argument between leaders that cannot be answered, we turn to Nagati. Two challengers risk violent currents, beasts from the deep, and waves that would dash them against the rocks. The winner, if there is one, has Nagati's favor. The loser, living or dead, is forgotten by Nagati and the tribe.
Her gaze turns downcast. Why did Anaharu challenge Ruanu to a trial of waves?
My father knew the traders are as dangerous as pirates and slavers, perhaps more, because they grow strong in Nekataka.
Her mouth becomes a hard line. Her eyes, for a moment, look distant, dead.
So when the expedition came, he begged Ruanu to send them away and move the tribe to another island.
Her knobby knuckles pale as she squeezes the pendant.
Ruanu, he did not listen, and Anaharu was done talking.
I see.
Anaharu goes to his next life, but, forgotten, he goes to a different tribe.
She hangs her head.
You don't seem to think much of Ruanu's leadership. He is our Ranga. My own great-aunt looked into his soul and declared him such. Even as she says this, she hesitates, one hand clenching into a fist at her side. I must respect him, even as he builds a village for our enemies. There's special options if I had other subclasses. Have you tried reasoning with him? Akara, I have, and so did Anna. She breaks off, looking down and frowning. Anaharu, I must learn to stop saying his name. Are you the priestess of this tribe? She nods, one finger brushing the crescent pendant at her neck. We worship the same gods as the foreigners, but sometimes with different names. This is Nagati, the trickster of the seas. She points to the wooden statue. It's as smooth as an old piece of driftwood, and the sun-bleached and water-stained patches suggest years of travel from one village to the next. Foreigners know her as Andra. To us, there is no difference. Well, I must say, Tikawara village is a lot more depressing than it looks on the surface. Neri the priestess asked me to destroy the luminous Adra at Poko Kohara. Well, I suppose that's always an option, but while I can understand why she wants it destroyed, I don't know if I necessarily agree with her reasoning. I feel like she's just lashing out because of what happened to her father.
Yeah.
Still, we'll try to
No
keep our
problem.
options open. We'll make our decision once we actually find the stuff. Speaking of which, I'm going to take care of some off-screen bookkeeping real quick, and then it's time to head back to Poko Kohara. And we're back. I took care of our trading off-screen, and now it's time to get back to some actual adventuring. So, here we are, just outside the ruins of Poko Kohara. Of course, we can see a clear item sparkle over here to the northwest. Oh, that's actually a point of interest. The Windswept Shrine. You notice a large weathered statue of stone a little ways off the path. It appears to be a Kawara Shrine. Well, of course, we will search the surrounding area. And we got a partial success. We didn't have enough insight. The area around the shrine is clear and may prove to be a good place to rest. Alright, we'll check it out with our priest, who I believe is our only character with any religious training. Though, now that I'm looking at our skill levels here, he's actually been neglecting his religious training. Well, it was still sufficient. A pair of stone eels twist up the sculpture. Each eel's mouth clings to the other's tail, creating an unbroken circuit. It portrays Rikuhu, the Huana's rendition of Barath. An inscription runs along the shrine's base. Some flee, others fight. Rikuhu consumes all. The god of death. That makes sense. Pollen and dirt dust the statue, and grass grows wild at its base. It seems some time since this shrine was tended. Looks like we've got a locked option here. Ah, it seems to be tied to various religious traits. Okay, we could camp here, but I don't really want to lose our last resting bonuses. And I'm not comfortable praying here because this is a shrine to the god of death. We may end up coming back to the shrine to rest if we suffer too many injuries, but for now, let's just head into the Poko Kohara ruins and have a look around. Here we are in Poko Kohara, the penultimate dungeon of the current beta. Our journal's been updated, and our current instructions are simply to explore. It looks like we've got a section of the map already highlighted here. I'm guessing that's where the missing expedition set up their camp.
My eyes are peeled.
That should probably be the first thing we check out. Of course, we're also in hostile territory here, so we're going to want to sneak from here on out. Oh, there's a highlighted skeleton ahead of us. Let's check that out real quick. Looks like we found an axe and some gold. We'll take that. Oh, there's a monolith we can examine too.
Give me a real challenge.
The obelisk is covered in Engwithan runes. Beware, the gods punish trespassers. Well, that certainly puts me at ease. Doesn't look like there's anything else here, so let's keep heading towards that campsite. It looks like there's actually quite a lot of ground to cover out here. We're coming up on the 30-minute mark, so we're probably going to start taking a look for a good break point soon. Oh, but there's some trouble we can get ourselves into. Looks like we just spotted a desert worm, which appears to be some sort of tiny wyvern. Scratch that, we've actually spotted 4 of them, which means we probably don't want to get any closer. We'll set up an ambush. If we're lucky, we might be able to pull a couple of them away from the rest of the group.
Can do.
We're going to want to make sure Retcon's close enough to hit them with his arquebus. And of course, we'll want Fighter and Raider up front, ready to intercept incoming enemies. Let's make sure the rest of our characters are ready for combat, but not too close. And we'll start things off with an Arterial Strike. We know nothing about desert worms, so I have no idea if this will actually affect them. But I guess we're about to find out. Once we get a little closer, that is. We're actually just out of range. Okay, I think we're ready to go. Let's queue up an Arterial Strike and get things started. Nice, we hit our target for 63 damage, plus the bleeding and hobbled status condition. Now let's get our frontliners out of stealth and move them up to intercept. It also looks like we've triggered more enemies behind the desert worm, so we need to start bringing everyone else up as well. Let's get a circle of protection up. Let's also get a better look at what we're dealing with here. Yikes, more Delumgans. Those things are bad news. Let's queue up some powerful attacks here. We'll start by having our mercenary wizard throw up a wall of tentacles. That should hopefully buy us some more time. All of these enemies seem to be using ranged attacks, so let's have our frontliners charge them. Otherwise they'll just stand there until they get shot to death. Let's shift the position of our tentacle spell, just to make sure it's in the middle of their formation. Okay, they just threw up a group buff. We'll have our fighter go right for one of the Delumgan if possible. Let's get our rogue closer too, so she can actually participate. All the Delumgan are casting spells, so let's have Retcon shift his focus to one of them. We want to hit it with an affliction, but I think these things are immune to being hobbled, so let's go with a blinding strike instead. Oh, looks like we just dropped a desert worm. Let's shift Raider and the rogue to the next one. Our circle of protection and tentacle wall just went up, but there's a desert worm on Retcon. Let's see if our fighter can pull it away. Nice. Okay, now let's have our mercenary wizard queue up an area attack. A fireball should work nicely. There we go. Looks like we just dropped another worm, so let's have our fighter switch off to this lesser storm blight here.
I'll teach you a lesson.
I'm guessing one of the Delumgans must have summoned that. Whoops, they just charmed our fighter. We'll need to queue up a suppress affliction spell. Okay, he's back on our side. Let's immediately have him retarget the Delumgan, and we'll have him try to knock it over. It can't cast anything if it's prone. Nice. Down it goes. Let's get all of our ranged fighters focused on that prone Delumgan.
Take him down.
Oh, and there goes the last worm on our flank. Let's get Raider and the rogue retargeted too.
Got him.
Oh, wow, it looks like we actually took out the Delumgan pretty quickly. Let's get everyone focused on the last worm. And there we go. Fight's over. Good work, everyone.
Steady does it. Why not?
Okay, we've got some aquamarine, we've got leathery wings and awakened roots. We'll take all of that.
Why not?
There's another leathery wing and a
Why
fang.
not?
And an emerald, very nice.
I've got it.
There's also this egg here, which has a desert worm hatchling. +5 all defenses against ground attacks, grants desert worm hatchling. Oh, that sounds promising. Let's take a look. Oh, right. I didn't mention it earlier, but we also purchased several utility items back in town, just in case we need them during the dungeon crawl. Now, who ended up with the desert worm? Oh, there it is. Now let's see here. Okay, it grants +5 to all ground-based defenses. And it converts some ranged misses into grazes. Very nice. We can definitely use that. This sand-colored worm craves warmth, curling like a cat on stones heated by the Deadfire sun. It burrows for insect prey and underground water, but eats and drinks conspicuously little. It seems utterly unfazed by strong winds. Well, that sounds extra adorable. I guess I have to equip it here? Oh, and it actually appears and follows me around like a pet. That is fantastic.
Quiet.
Sorry we killed your parents, little guy, but don't worry.
No problem.
Now we're your new parents. That's how it works, right? Okay, this clearly isn't the expedition's camp, so let's keep heading east for now. Oh, let's check the map. Apparently the area that was already marked was the oasis, but that's clearly not what we're here looking for. Oh, looks like we just spotted some more hostiles. A Zorip champion. And a second champion as well. If I recall correctly, those are basically the equivalent of kobolds, so nothing to worry about. Let's get our guys into the usual attack formation. Warriors up front and ranged fighters in back. Then we'll have Retcon lead with a sneak attack as usual. Okay, let's get our ranged fighters spread out and queue up an Arterial Strike. Not bad, 61 damage plus a graze on the secondary effects. Let's move Raider and the fighter up to meet the Zorips in battle. The other Zorip's hanging back, so we'll shoot that as well. There we go, that got its attention. Let's start bringing our ranged fighters up. And it looks like that Zorip champion is casting something. We'll hit it with a thrust of Tattered Veils. That should disrupt its spell. So far, so good. Oh, one of the champions just dropped. Okay, let's get everyone on the other champion, and this should be over in just another second.
I was intending.
Yikes. And our rogue blows it to pieces with her blunderbuss. Nicely done.
Time to see.
No other
and
enemies
not
in
be
sight, so let's take a moment to pick over the corpses and see if there's anything worth taking. We've got a Zorip tongue, delicious, some golden coins, and an assortment of Zorip shields and spears.
Got it.
Nothing but vendor trash, really, but there's no reason not to take it. Okay, now I see a little shack over there, and we've got some barrels of gunpowder. This must be the expedition camp. And it looks like it's overrun with more Zorips. I guess the two we just killed must have been their perimeter guards. Well, there's probably a whole lot of them in there, and we're past the 30-minute mark now, so I think this makes a good stopping point. We'll pick up here next time as we continue exploring the ruins of Kawara and try to find out what happened to that missing Vailian expedition. But for now, this is RetconRaider, signing off. Thanks for watching. Oh, and remember, although I do love playing Pillars of Eternity 2 Deadfire, you can find out more about the game by visiting the official website, the official YouTube channel, or the original crowdfunding campaign page over on Fig. Links are in the description.